creepy Santa Claus and salami seller stand have come to my town, which means that it's Christmas season. Welcome everybody, I'm Lo and this is To Feed a Mockingbird, and today you're in for a South African treat. It actually has Dutch origin, but more about that later. Suffice it to know for now that at one point in history this was probably the favorite dessert of Nelson Mandela. So, what we're gonna cook is a sponge cake called MALVA pudding, and for that you're gonna need an oven, 2 baking trays, a sieve, a toothpick, a pot, 2 bowls, and a whisk. Even electric is fine. And as for the ingredients, 4 eggs, granulated sugar, some butter, some brown sugar, some apricot jam, whole milk, some white vinegar, lemon juice, and some heavy cream. And to top it all, some Malvasia wine. We'll start putting in a pot milk, the minor quantity of butter, and boiling them. When it boils, we'll add the vinegar and wait for it to begin to curdle. We're gonna mix them while we cook them at low-medium heat. We're gonna melt obviously the butter in the milk while we cook it. Now that the butter has melted and the milk is boiling, I'm gonna add vinegar, mix it and continue to cook at low-medium heat until it begins to curdle. In the meantime, when it's almost curdling, we're gonna separate our egg whites from our yolks. You're gonna need all egg whites, but only 2 yolks, so feel free to do whatever you want with the remaining 2. We're gonna put in a bowl our granulated sugar, our apricot jam, our yolks, and sieve in it our plain flour. Since the milk and butter mix is beginning to curdle, we're gonna add it in the bowl. And we're gonna mix all the ingredients. And now we're gonna whip our egg whites in another bowl to stiff peaks. If you have a normal whisk, it will take a lot of time, maybe even up to 30 minutes. You can start an oval movement with your inclined bowl. Then you're gonna notice that the egg whites are gonna become denser, and that's when you increase your speed. Continue this way with never-ending increasing speed up until when it's ready. Otherwise, if you have an electric whisk, make a circular motion, starting at low power when you notice that the egg whites are becoming more compact. Then that's when you start increasing up until when they're ready. I'm definitely not getting to the camera with this wire. I'm really sorry. While still mixing them, you're gonna add in the bowl some lemon juice. If putting the whisk inside it, stiff peaks come up, then you're ready, and you're gonna fold in egg whites in our other bowl, which means that we're gonna sacrifice a quarter of these egg whites by putting in this and just mixing them. Now the mixture should be way softer, and that's when we're gonna start to fold in the rest of the egg whites. I suggest you to use a large metal spoon. I have a metal spoon, it's not that large, you should use a large one. Be very careful to be gentle in this movement. You don't have to whisk, you don't have to mix, you have to fold. So repeat this movement. You cut in the middle, then come this way, then on top of it again. And you continue gently until they are all well incorporated. No pressure, no strength, just gently folding them. Try not to break all the air that's being accumulated in the egg whites, because that's exactly what you're gonna need. So, like this, should be fine. Now you're gonna take a baking tray, grease it with some butter, and pour the new formed mixture in it. Now we're gonna preheat our oven at 180 degrees Celsius. And then we're gonna cook our mixture in our baking tray with another baking tray on top of it in our oven for 20 minutes. We're gonna remove the baking tray on the top and let it cook for other 10 minutes. Whilst we let it cook for the last 5 to 10 minutes, we're gonna take a pot and put it in our Malvasia wine, our biggest quantity of butter, and our brown sugar. We're gonna cook them and mix them together at medium-high heat without boiling the mixture until the butter is melted and the sugar is dissolved, so that we're gonna create a sauce to put in and on our final dessert. Put the cream in it. The butter has to melt, the sugar has to dissolve, but the mixture should not boil. Our sauce is ready. Now Malva pudding has been cooked. We're gonna take it off the oven. Here you have it. The whole surface, we're gonna riddle it with a toothpick. And now we're gonna take our sauce and pour it on our dessert. And most of it will be absorbed into the dessert as it cools down through the holes that we pricked. I wish you bon appetit as you eat it with a dessert spoon and a fork. Fork in your non-dominant hand to keep it still and bring it to your mouth, and spoon in your dominant hand to cut it. Usually in Christmas season I just cook some chocolate salami and rewatch A Muppet Christmas Carol. I will not pass on my usual Muppet Christmas Carol that I've been watching since when I was a child, but this year I'm gonna try this South African dessert because yeah, this is a Christmas recipe. As I told you before, in origin it was a Dutch recipe, even though nowadays in the Netherlands it's not to be found, whereas in South Africa it's always to be found. In 1652, some Dutch colonialists came to Cape of Good Hope in South Africa, and in there they founded a settlement called Cape Dutch because of Cape of Good Hope. That's when Malva pudding was brought from the Netherlands to South Africa. And that's okay, but why Malva? So, some people say that it's because Malva lekker in Afrikaans means marshmallow, and that reminds of the spongy texture of this cake. But, according to other people, its invention was a gift dedicated to a woman. Some people claim that it's because of another Malva. Geranium in Afrikaans is Malva, and in the first version of this recipe, geranium leaves were believed to be used to aromatize the sweet mixture. But the most accredited sources tell us that Malvasia wine was, and that's why I follow this theory in my recipe, was the base for the sauce that gave birth to this dish. So why most accredited theory is not Malvasia wine being used right now in South Africa? No. Nowadays, if you wanna make a traditional South African Malva pudding, you can use brandy, you can use sherry, and in some cases you can use the South African amarula, and those are a perfect accompaniment. So, cheers! So good. Anyways, thank you for watching. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know other recipes in the comments from other parts of the world. I hope that you enjoy this dish, and I'll see you next year.